Hello, everyone. Can you all see me okay? Just let's get the chat going. We're going to give it a 5 minutes or so that we'll get everyone else to join in as well. If people have any questions. So, I think we can get started, I guess. There were quite a few questions that were asked, and I wanted to see. We see a comment here saying, "How are you?" I'm pretty good. Thank you so much. How are you doing? Tell me, where are you tuning in from? Like, which country? And if you have any questions, please drop it in the chat. Hello, we have someone here from Pakistan. And yeah, so I think a lot of you just asked me a bunch of questions about, just like after every video, there are questions, or I specifically asked y'all, like, what is something that is top of mind for you? So I prepared a list of questions here that we can go through, and I'll be happy to answer any of them in general. Um, so let's see. I'm also monitoring the chat as well just to see if anything comes up. Yeah. Okay, so I think let's just get started. Like I said, I prepared a list of questions so we can just. Hi, I'm from India. Hello. Um, this was one of the questions, which is that I would like a video where you could include better auth instead of clerk, SSO, and drizzle. So I personally have never used drizzle on my channel, but I would definitely love to try it out. Although I've heard really good things about better auth, so I'm really excited to create something for y'all for better auth as well. Like my next long form video that I'm planning to create, where I show you again some, build something from scratch and all the way from the ground up. I would say I am gonna definitely I'm gonna try to use better auth for sure. And better auth, or I guess even like next auth or something like that too, I think would be really fun as well. So yeah, wanna create something like that. And if you think there are any other auth services that you would like to learn more about, just comment in the chat as well. I kind of also wanted to do like a comparison too, because I feel like as a developer, you would want to know like when should you pick what are the options, the pricing, pros and cons, and so on. So I definitely think this is something we need to keep in mind. And I'm definitely going to switch back and forth between like, the questions that come up in chat and questions that y'all have asked me in comments and stuff like that. So let's answer a question here. What front end and back end framework is best for beginners? Um, that's a really good question. I would recommend that if you are a beginner, and I'm assuming that because a lot of my channel content is more so JavaScript and React based. So I would say that go for just simple React with Vite in general. So, like, for example, let me just paste some links here. Um, yeah, so like you could go for, oh, I pasted the wrong thing. No, that's not what I wanted. Um, Let me just paste. If you are a beginner, then yeah, yeah, something like this would be really awesome for you to check out. Um, I think that what really helps is, sorry, I'm just gonna navigate a bunch of windows here. But yeah, like what's gonna help you is get started with Vite because Vite is so lightweight because Create React app is deprecated right now. And Vite is a really good build system. So you could get started with that, get your hands dirty with React. And I would say that that's how I would start. But then once you are a little bit more comfortable with React and the basics of React, then I would recommend you to go for something like Next.js, for example, because Next.js gives you the bells and whistles needed to build to make it a really solid framework. But then I can definitely see like if you are a complete beginner, then it can be intimidating for you. So I would say that for backend, like personally, I have mainly just gone for Node.js because I just love Node. However, having said that, there are so many other options these days that I would love to check out. For example, one of them is also like, Bun as well, or like Dino and stuff like that too. So definitely something I would love to keep an eye on as well. So yeah, I honestly like I used to code in Java like when many years ago, and that's how I learned backend development. And I just personally felt like it was so frustrating for me because I always wanted to see things. So I switched between backend and front end development. And the minute I switched to Node.js, I just felt like it was a light bulb moment for me, and it was just so freaking cool to just to see how simple it was. So personally, I would definitely recommend you to try Node if you're again a beginner, right? Like you don't know what to get started with, and I think because Node.js, you can just simply create an API very easily. So yeah, 100%. Although, having said that, if you are a beginner, you may also want to check out the Next.js serverless functions as well, which also gives you the capability to try out an API if you want. So yeah, I would 100% say that for sure. We have quite a few people that have joined in. So yeah, that's the question that I was covering. Uh, Backend roadmap. Yes. So I want to dive more into backend and give you an idea for how backend works as well, not just dedicated to front end, because a lot of my recent videos are more so full stack, right? But I would love to give you a quick overview and tour of the backend work because I feel like there's really good content on YouTube so far for backend development. However, I feel like if your sort of like strengths are, let's say, front end, right, and you wanna dabble into back end and learn all the things needed, I would say I would be able to help you do that. So yeah, 100%. Hello from India. Hello. Clerk is free for production build. Yes, so Clerk is definitely free, and I'm actually using Clerk in all my products. So if you check out nextjscourse.dev, that in fact uses Clerk, and it's actually been pretty well. I'm not using the production yet, and it's been so far so good. So yeah, they're definitely free for production. Is TRPC better for front end? I would I would say TRPC is really popular. Whoops, I'm just gonna just pull up something here. I would say TRPC is really popular, and honestly, there's an upcoming video I'm working on that will give you an idea for that. In terms of better, I think because if you are a huge fan of TypeScript and if you see the value of TypeScript in general, I would say that TRPC does an incredible job to give you that end-to-end type safe APIs, you know? So, yeah, I would 100% say like it is better or not is I think a you question, sort of like figuring out. But yeah, it's really good, 100%. Um what kind let me just highlight this. What kind of projects web dev would you recommend for remote jobs? That's a really good question. I would say like anything that can allow you to showcase your skills would be definitely something that I would recommend you to, show off. Back in the day, not back in the day, like, before COVID, I would say that um I was definitely like going to a bunch of hackathons just to like build apps overnight and show that as well. But when it comes to like remote jobs itself, I would say something that really truly showcase your skill. Like I would say like, the Somer AI SaaS video that I recently showed like taught you on my channel is a really good example of that because it not only shows you like let's say front end skills but also back end and full stack skills and the fact that you have the tools necessary that you know how to do it, I think would is very valuable. So yeah, 100% I would say that check it out for sure. um so yeah, I would also say like, try to build something that is not so simple, like not just a to-do list as well, but something that can showcase your skill set or add some creative aspect to it. For example, so if you're just using to-do list, then how can you make to-do list more useful, for example, to you know help people? So anything that you would do, and I would also start with a lot of people like when it comes to ideas, I feel like a lot of people are just like, oh my god, there are so many ideas, or you have none at all. And I think people sort of swing. This is sort of like a pendulum, like you kind of swing back and forth. And what I would recommend you is that you sort of pick an idea that you would use, you would pay for, and go from there. Because I think that's when you're the user, so you know that you know what to build, right? And build something useful for you. Find tasks in your day-to-day job. What can you build that will like really help you? And that will also make up for a really good story as a project if you are, let's say, interviewing for a job or something like that too. Okay, the next question is, what's your take on recent Vercel and Next.js issues? I would say like upgrade to the latest version of Next.js as soon as possible. I also shared this in my newsletter as well. If you're not already on it, I would highly recommend you to check it out. I posted a link in the chat. And what's my take is like, I think it's very hard to build APIs and solutions that work for all developers across the world. And I think mistakes can happen. However, I would say like how they manage the mistake, and that is more important. So like there's good documentation on it, how to handle the situation is on it. Like the docs are really good as well. And so yeah, I would say upgrade to the latest version of Next.js because if you don't know what the issue is, it was that if you are able to like bypass middleware. So if your middleware has auth in it, and that will be a security vulnerability because people would be able to access resources that they're not supposed to. So I would highly recommend you to upgrade for sure. Discord link. Yes. Let me see if I can find my Discord link. I created like a bit.ly link so that I don't have to keep thinking about Discord. No, it's not this. Let me just go and find my bit.ly link. Honestly, I feel like a lot of people use bit.ly, like bit.ly in general, for tracking if how many people are clicking on it. I honestly do it so that it's handy, for me. So let me see Discord. What is the link here? Perfect. So this is the link I posted in the chat. Perfect. Uh, by the way, it's 12,000 subscribers now. I know, it's exciting. Like, I remember I've been wanting to, it's been like a week or so that I've been wanting to create it, but I would say in the past week and a half, things have really picked up. I hope it grows. Because creating YouTube videos, especially the last one that I created, the 9 hour long video, is a lot of work. Like, I love doing it, but as much as I love doing it, it is still a lot of work. And I want to make sure that you don't get stuck on, unnecessary things and, exactly understand how to build. And you would be able to build yourself as well. So, having said that, if you can, I posted a link in the chat right now or in the description for buy me a coffee. If you are up for it, definitely support the channel. If there is a source code linked in the description of my channel, to basically any way you can support me, that would be really helpful because I am doing this full time, and there's a balance there, right, where I want to keep creating free content for all of you, but how long can I do it for is also a question. So I would 100% recommend to help support the channel in any way possible. Alrighty, so I'm gonna switch to ask questions in the chat are coming up. I'm gonna take one question from um, this specific comment that came up. I'm not sure who said it, but um, for those who came a bit later, I just also want to show like I'm switching back and forth in terms of questions. Um, because there were questions that were shared beforehand as well. So yeah. So I want to start development service for clients product, and I want to build websites for local clients and make my conversations more professional. What should I tell them and others, and how can I put a trust on them? So I think like I want to build websites for local and make conversations more professional. I would say, like, to be honest, if you're not already using ChatGPT, is free in a lot of countries. Highly recommend you to just brainstorm your ideas with ChatGPT and then message your client. A lot of people are in a hurry, they're in a rush. So what they do is, hey, do you have a link to, for example, do you have a link to this project? Or can you explain why you use this database, for example? Or why is there a bug or whatever might be. We suddenly get nervous, right? We're like, oh my god, a client is messaging me, and we just jump in and just be like, because da 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 da. What happens with that is you come across as really it comes across as really premature, right? Because what you should do in that moment is not get stressed, take a step back, and like really figure out what is their goal, like what are they trying to ask. If they're asking why did you use this database, you could give your reasons, but you could also ask a question back being like, hey, I would love to provide more info, but I would love to know, um is it more of a technical question so I can go more in technical details, or is it someone from product asking, like, what is the goal of your question, right? And based on that you can reply, you can talk it out with ChatGPT. Consider ChatGPT as like your pair programming buddy, and like talk to them. and see what answers you may come up and then respond to the client. Now, obviously, sometimes it can get annoying every single time you're asking AI what to say, but it's don't think of it that way. It's more so like, this is what I'm thinking, and a quick gut check, would really help. All right, so let's see what else the other questions. Uh, okay. I would like a video where you show the whole raw process of translating Figma design to Next.js. I am largely interested in how you set up your global.css with Tailwind CSS. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. And I think a lot of other channels do that. So I'm going to definitely do that where we take a Figma design and move that to Next.js. And I can also give you access to those Figma designs as well. The way I design, especially when I'm building projects for all of you, is sort of like I know Tailwind well enough that it has become my go to tool for design. So I just know what to do. And for me, and in fact, my partner and I we were discussing this. He's a developer as well, where his style is more so go to Figma, go to UX tools, and like try to figure out what the design will look like. My style is let's just build it. And I don't mind discarding my code. Like I'll get rid of it if I don't like it, but it depends on person to person. So I'll definitely show you how I go about doing both of those approaches as well, for sure. For those joining in, please comment in the chat if you have any questions. All right. How can we use Rust with Next.js in backend? I actually don't know the answer to this. I'm gonna have to get back to you. I have never tried to configure the Next.js backend as much. Although TurboPack uses Rust, so something to keep in mind there that you're already using Rust if you're using TurboPack. However, this is a really good question. I'll come back to this. Have been struggling to get production ready code or structure. Would you please suggest how we can structurize our code base? Yeah, I have a video coming up on this specific topic itself where how you can, you know, architect your code base so that it scales. Because a lot of times you don't want to just throw in files wherever you like. You want to make sure that you are structuring it so that it scales so that anyone else who joins after you or with like when you're around as well will be able to understand what's going on. So I would say that one thing I would definitely say is like it's not something that just can happen. It's something that will come with time as well. Like for example, you cannot expect that you have a production ready code base structure like right away. No, it's an iterative process and you have to keep improving every single file. Every time you add a new file, keep thinking, where should this go? How will it affect future work? And so on. Pun plus Honor looks good, 100%. I'm doing good. Okay. How do you store users on DB if you're using Clerk for auth? That's a very good question. So I can tell you like what I do for Next.js course because that's where I'm using Clerk. So I'm gonna send you the link to the course plat. So anytime anyone joins the course, anyone signs up, Clerk stores all the users. I don't. I see those users. I see when they last signed in and so on. However, I don't store them in the database because sometimes there are people just logging in and checking out the product. Some people can just log in, sign up to my account, and just get some free lessons as well. But I don't store those users because they have not purchased a product. So, which is why, or they have not purchased the course. So I don't store them until they purchase a product. Then I need a record of them in the database. So what I do is I get the clerk ID and store that and generate my own UUID as well and store both of those IDs in my database. So this way I can basically check, for example, if this specific user with this specific clerk ID is logged in or not, or and so on. And this approach is also really useful because you don't want to just store every single record, every single user that visits your website and checks out your product. It's up to you. It's also a personal decision as well, almost an architectural decision. But I would say, like, don't. just stored whenever necessary. I'm from India. Hello. Added that to the resume already. Amazing. I'm assuming you're asking, mentioning about the AI SaaS. Perfect. Give me 1 second. Where is it? I can see y'all are joining the Discord community. Please do. That's awesome. Okay, switching back to the questions over here. All right, I'm gonna paste that in the chat. Did it work? Hmm. Why can't I see it? Uh, can y'all see it? Oh, it's, um, it's really long. Okay, hopefully now. Yes, perfect. Okay, so I'm struggling as a beginner. Um, in this field, working as a front end intern feels like I have to leave coding. Is this me or this feeling is normal at starting? Can you help or guide how to be better at web development? At web development got cut out there, but yeah. I think like when you're a beginner at anything, right? Like you're gonna feel like you don't know a lot, right? Sometimes we get frustrated and it's hard to like keep up, right? But I think what you need to do is make learning more fun. It is quite normal to feel this way, especially when things are not working out. I remember when I was working as an intern at IBM, I was given, a lot of work and big projects actually, and I felt like was really overwhelmed. And there were a lot of things I didn't know, and I was also using Java and Java Beans, and I just felt like, oh my God, I don't know how to get this to work, and it was really hard, for me to pick up. But what I did was I actually made things more fun. I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna do this one thing and see how it goes, and then like sort of break down my work a bit. And whenever you're starting out, like it's a normal process for you to feel that way, to feel alone or feel like, oh my God, is it just me that's facing this? No, it's not just you. Everyone faces it. It's just that no one talks about it. So 100% I would recommend that you keep going and keep building cool things that helps you, so that you there's a motivation right there. Like in back in my job right now, like I just build things that help me. So to make my job better and faster. Or if there's something in the house where I'm just like, oh my goodness, it's so annoying. And I just cannot believe that they haven't done this, they haven't fixed this, blah, 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 blah. And I just build it because I'm like, I can, which is a really cool thing about being a developer. So take advantage of that and focus on that, I would say. Okay, let's see what the other questions are. There is depth of videos how to show a freelance developer begins to work on a new project, what their thought process is, the difficulties. It will really help a beginner. um yeah, like I have been a freelance web developer in the past, and when I was working as a student um in the university, I was freelancing as well, just so I can pay off my tuition and have no debt once I graduate. So I was definitely doing a lot of that. And I would say like the biggest difficulties is juggling the task and also completing the work and making the client happy. There's a lot over there. But I would say for juggling tasks, like really be focused, really try to figure out what's going on. Give frequent updates to your clients so that they know what you're up to, but not too much that they get annoyed. You can always ask them what kind of updates that they want, so you can set their expectations. And a lot of times it's like sort of like onboarding the client. It's no more like, it's not just about, okay, like, it's it's gonna take 4 days to build this. you can't just say that. You have to be like, okay, so this kind of work is gonna take this much work to be done, this much time to be done, like this much time it's gonna take, and so on. And then accordingly, just package that to say how much time it's gonna take, and like handle conversations more delicately. But yeah, I would say that there's a lot there for sure. Okay, total raw video with mistakes included. People generally skip this part. Maybe they have a repo created already as a starting point. I'm not sure what this question is, so I'm gonna move on to the next one. If you can clarify in the comment, I will be happy. Okay, let's see. Hello, a lot of people are joining in, and I want to start. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Oh yes. Did you remember me? I have been building your AI project and it's really good. Oh, thank you. I have been getting a lot of comments, so I'm pretty sure if I responded to you, I actually, kind of remember you, I should say, but there were a lot of comments on overall on my YouTube channel. So I'm sorry if I don't exactly remember, but I do remember your questions and I'm happy to always answer them. I was in your Discord. Yes, please join my Discord and please, please, please be active there and like ask questions, help other people. I can already see that's happening. That's one of the areas I'm going to focus on to grow more and help you. Because what happens is I don't want you to feel lonely and like code on your own. That's so boring. I want Discord to be the place where you come to. So please come there. Okay. Where is your puppy? My puppy is sleeping, but I'm gonna call him in a second over here. Kobe, come here. Kobe, come. He always needs treats, and I don't have them right now, but definitely he's gonna be here. He's staring at me right now. Um, Kobe, come. Okay, he's coming. So yes, my puppy is here in the room and he's always in the background in videos. You can see him. I just kind of like for him to chill. I don't want him to take any stress. Just do whatever he wants and I'll work around it. So yeah. Okay. I struggle getting freelance clients. What should I do? Um I would say like build cool things and show that off in your portfolio. If you're already doing that and showing it off, talk about it more on Twitter. Kobe, come here. Come. Kobe, come. My goodness. I don't know where he's going to go. Okay. He has gone to the bedroom, as you can see over there. Um, but yeah, I would say like focus on just marketing yourself a bit more if you're struggling to get clients. Talk about your work. These days, it's been working out really well, to be honest. And I hired a few couple of people via that. Just if you want to work for someone, just message them and send them a genuine message about how you have checked out their content. Don't just send like, I know a lot of people are like, this is how you should cold DM someone. Like honestly, that doesn't work with me, and I'm pretty sure that doesn't work with a lot of people because we get a lot of messages. So I would say like if there are clients that you want to genuinely work with, just DM them, but don't just be like, oh, can I get a job? Be more so like, this is my portfolio of projects and this is what I've built. I can see you're doing so and make it more personal so that they will actually respond to you. And you never know when you where you will find like uh, a client there. So yeah, 100%. I would say that. Uh, I saw the AI SaaS video. Can you make a small project like this? um it's very hard to build a small project with a AI SaaS video, but definitely I'll keep that in mind for sure. I'll definitely do that. Okay, आप इंडिया में कहाँ से हैं? Okay, so I grew up in Mumbai and I pretty much moved here when I was 20 years old. So I studied a bit there. So yeah, but I grew up in Mumbai actually. And now I'm in Toronto, Canada, and I've been here for 10 years now. Discord. Please, yes. Go join the Discord community, please. And please be active. Tag me. As you can see, I really respond to all the questions. If I get a ping, I'm on it. Like I really want to be involved. Obviously, the community grows, it will be harder to do so. However, I can actually hire one of you to help me do that as well. So please be active, be a proponent, and like really push people to help. Okay. I'm gonna also switch to these questions as well. Okay, so I'm using, let's see if we can paste this. Um, did it work? No. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna try to paste it. Okay, I'm using ChatCN in my e-commerce project for the dark mode toggle functionality, but now I also need MUI stepper component to implement multi-step form for checkout. I couldn't paste the whole thing, but I'm going to read it out. This is creating a discrepancy as this component doesn't sync with next theme toggle for some reason. Can you create a video on this? How can you make multi-step form in general? Any library or you build from scratch? Highly, highly, highly recommend to use React hook forms for building forms in general. Forms are one of the most complicated and complex things I have built in my entire career. You will run into so many unnecessary issues if you don't use a form library that are just going to annoy you and you're going to get frustrated, and it's a hard problem, which is why there are libraries out there that helps you do that, helps make that life easy, makes it easy for you, for instance. So like I would say that download or install React hook form with Zod, because Zod will give you a good structure and validations to your forms. And obviously use ShatCN, which you're already doing, but use ShatCN to get all the components, input components, and so on, or buttons. This together will be is gonna make your life way easier. I built a multi-step form in my SaaS. It's called as Proofy Bubble. I'm not sure if you all know about this, but this is a SaaS that I recently launched, and I already have like about 18 websites on it, which is pretty awesome. So I'm getting customers already. And in this SaaS, I'm actually using a multi step form to add a bunch of integrations. And I would 100% say, like, there used React Hook form. And when I started out, I did not use React Hook form. I did not use Zod. I wasted a day on it and it was just not worth it because the are solved by the library. So please use it. If you have not already, highly recommend using React Hook form. If you haven't, if you feel like you want to use you don't want to use React Hook form, fine, don't use it. Use something else, but use a form library. I highly recommend you do that. Okay, next question. I really struggle with hydration and Redux versus setup in Next.js. Um, I would say like, what is it that you struggle with specifically? I would love to know. Um, the reason I'm asking is because I just stopped using Redux in general because Next.js caching is has gotten to a point where I can just have all my data cached and use it versus I use something like Redux. And if I'm using GraphQL, I use Apollo client for it. So I don't have to use Redux because Apollo client also has caching. So I just lean on caching is a simple answer. Um, so yeah, I really struggle with Next.js server actions, understanding, and Redux setup as well. Yes, so I would say like if you struggle with server actions, check out the video on my channel on server actions. I actually cover exactly how you would build it step by step. And To be honest, I think server actions at the time were not even like in production. Like they were not even released officially. And I created a video on it. So it's like really good video on showing you how it works. I had a couple people recently, a couple of my friends actually, they watched that video, they didn't understand it, and they messaged me later that they did. So there you go. It's still relevant. Can you suggest the best project which can be made as experienced modern developer to get noticed? Is that what you mean? Like, um, I would say build a SaaS app. Like, that's a really good app. Like, build an app that you think other people would want or you think you would want, and build something that has a front end as well as a back end. And like, um, I would say like if you want to definitely get noticed, then when you sell a service that works, then that works, right? So like, I would say that it would be my answer. Okay, congrats. Thank you so much, Greg. Um, okay, let's see what the answer. I have 2 years of experience in Modern and React Native, and I want to switch the job. Can you suggest some tips so like my application gets does not get unnoticed while I'm having relevant experience? Um, I want to switch the job. You mean like you're in your current job that you would love to switch this to? Um, I would say like in terms of your resume, make it very clear. A lot of people just add essays in their resume, and I just think it's not gonna work out and it's not gonna help you get noticed. Do not use AI so much that your resume looks like an AI resume. Please make it personal. Use quantify it and show impact. So like instead of just saying build a SaaS project, build a full stack SaaS project, you may want to say something like, shipped a full stack SaaS project with React and Next.js on the front end, with Node in the back end, and delivered, 5 features in X days, or something like that, or like made, I don't know, like I said about Proofy Bubble, the SaaS that I built. Like I made 18, I have 18 websites on the SaaS app. Like something that shows impact, right? Would be something that you would want to definitely focus on. Alrighty, so we have the next question is, I'm currently working on building a strong full stack portfolio, but I'm looking for some guidance creating something unique. A lot of people are working on AI SaaS app, feels like tutorial hell. I think it depends. I would say that if the if you just blindly follow someone and write the code exactly how they write it, no matter how many apps you build, you're never gonna learn. I would say like if you want to create something unique, build something that you would want to use. And I've been saying this several times. Build something that you would want to use, and that itself it becomes unique because that's a specific use case that you would want. If there are existing solutions out there, don't if you're thinking about building a portfolio, don't think too much about making money from it. Like don't think like, oh, if I build a SaaS, I'm gonna sell it. You can sell it for sure, but if your goal is to make a strong portfolio, then I would say that focus on building that first, and then you can look into selling it. A lot of people are working on AI SaaS apps for sure, but I would say even though a lot of people are, a lot of not a lot of resumes have a cool SaaS app in you know overall. So a lot of people have started it, but they don't finish it. So you don't go with like what you think may happen, but like actually just see. Personally, I don't think it's tutorial help, but I totally hear you that it can feel like that for sure. Uh, all right. So don't get the entire picture how persist can work in Next.js since it can be rendered on servers. I guess what I'm trying to say is like when you do get API calls, so let's say you perform a GET request, what I'm trying to say is that that get request, if you just use the Next.js caching mechanism, it is gonna get cached, right? It's in your cache already. When you try to make another request, it's not gonna, unless you ask it to re-render, it's not gonna work because you can just use what's existing in your cache. That's what I meant initially, that I just lean on the cache. And to be honest, if you think about it, React 19, all the hooks there, all like are leaning towards that. I think we're talking less about use effect and use state. Although in client heavy applications, that's very important. We are moving more towards caching by default. So yeah, that's what I meant. Congrats. Thank you so much. Okay. With market getting really competitive, I'm thinking about leveraging Go for my next project since it's known for efficiency, scalability. Do you think focusing on Go could help me stand out? I don't know the Go market, to be honest. I would look into the market of Go and how many jobs they have and so on. However, if you really want to stand out, then you need to build projects and ship them and have a really good resume. You don't need to necessarily, if you don't have any experience yet. I think having multiple projects and showing that impact that I talked about is something that would really get you and help you stand out. If you if you just, build something or switch to a new technology, again you're going to go through a lot of the things that you already discovered and you overcame in the previous one. So I don't know how much it will help you to stand out. Okay, can you please suggest what can be the best choice for authentication and for database with Next.js? I would say for auth, Next Auth is a very good option. I also hear good things about Better Auth. I'm using Clerk in all my projects because it's free and I really don't want to manage auth on my own. The question is, do you really want to manage the users or you are okay with having a third party managing it? So based on that, your choice can change. And for database, I personally really love NeonDB, but I've also heard good things about other databases. Having said that, I would say Convex is really good with Next.js. The tools that they have, plus it's open source, so definitely keep an eye on that as well. So Convex is like really, really good too. So definitely check that out. What I love about Convex is just that they manage the state for you, which is again going back to our previous question about needing Redux. Convex is a reactive database, so it will just know where changes are happening in your code and will automatically update it. So something I would say so. Okay. So the other is, this is the question. The next question is, how do you implement all functionalities in the app? We always get stuck in this. What's your suggestion to us? Um, I would say that if you're getting stuck and if you're just following me code, right? Like I'm teaching you a lot. If you're just following me to and coding that, chances are you're literally following me, not even thinking for a second what exactly I'm trying to do. If that's the case, you will always get stuck. You will always not know how to implement it on your own. That's the biggest problem. And a common problems that a lot of beginners do. So what I would recommend is every time I'm building something, take a step back and ask yourself, like, how would I build it? Like, how would you build the same thing? You may not know the answer. That's okay. However, that the fact that you train your brain to think about that, excuse me, is going to help you because now you're thinking about how to solve it. So when you see me solve it, you're like, ah, this is what she did. And I think that's going to help you implement those functionalities next time. You're going to remember, oh, this is what I did, this is what I thought of. And I think that is how I learned as well. Like I really learned how to implement those functionalities. And the second thing is just build it, ask, use AI, use ChatGPT as a pair programmer, and just ask questions. Why is this error? Instead of just like pasting all the errors to AI and not trying to like learn how it's implemented, how it works. just try to question and reason like how AI is solving it, you know? So yeah, I would say that. Okay. The next question is, how do I get some micro SaaS ideas I'm unable to get? If you know, you can share with me. Um, I would say again, back to the same thing. If you're not try to find ideas in your day to day, like that you think are challenging. Try to solve it for yourself. Chances are you're solving for other people as well. The more you ship, the more ideas you'll get. Congrats! Thank you so much. What are your thoughts on AI matching ahead rapidly? What will be the future of developers? I think my opinion is not not none of you are gonna like it. I think that if developers don't catch up to what AI is doing, unfortunately, we will be left behind. And that's just the reality. If let me tell you a story. Like when I was working, I got a full-time job at IBM. It was my first job, and for I was lost in the Java world for the first 9 months. And later on, I wanted to switch to JavaScript and like really, focus on that because I really did not enjoy working with Java. For 9 months, or actually no, for 6 months, I was not really up to date. I was not really I didn't care for what's out there, what not. Like I just was so focused on doing my job right. 6 months later, I found out that I just learned that, oh my God, like things have changed so much in the world of web development that I literally fell so behind, and I just started picking up and like really working hard to catch up. I don't want you to be that. AI is that thing. People who did not use the internet and would definitely feel the same way. That's the same evolution and the same changes we are finding with AI right now. That keep up to date, see what's going on, build with AI, don't fight it. It's always good to question it, but don't fight it if you see that the industry is going towards that. And my thoughts would be that use AI to make your help you get better at your job instead of getting too stressed about it that you don't work on it at all. So that's my thought for it. So the future of developers is that I would imagine that there will be less jobs for the kind of work we're doing right now, but I think it will be replaced with jobs with the new kind of work that's going to come up. So yeah, those are my thoughts. All right. The next question is, I completed my BTech in 2024 and now I have completed a year of experience at service-based company as a front-end developer using React. Please guide to get into product-based company. I mean, if you already are getting an experience, and start applying for jobs and start interviewing, right? Like at product-based companies, at products that you're really interested in. So in the interview process, you will learn. I always tell people like, make a list of companies that you don't want to get into, and companies that you do want to get into. Companies that you don't want to get into are interviews you need to go for, because you will get a chance to practice your interview skills. Companies that you then you can apply for companies that you want to get into, and then you will be better because you have already been through the process. Having said that, I'm not recommending that do not practice at all or do not prep at all for the companies that you don't want to get into, because you never know. There might be companies that might surprise you and you're suddenly interested in them. So definitely something you want to keep in mind. All right, then we have, I've started learning Next.js and have been following your Somer project. Awesome. Alrighty. The other question I had was, um, that should let me just paste that in the chat over here. Should I focus on learning how to create backend in Next.js, or utilize a BAS, or use a separate backend technology like Node.js? Now, it depends what your goals are. If I would say that the industry is going towards full stack developers, so only going for necessarily front end is not gonna maybe help you get a job. However, having said that, if you if your goals are that, and that, I would say, like, learn how to create a backend is always going to help you. This way you would be able to answer this question yourself, if you need a separate backend technology or not. I would 100% say, like, using Node.js is really good. Check out Convex as well, which is also really awesome. And yeah, go from there. um I'm not sure what stage you are in, so that's the best I can answer at this point. Then I've been diving into microservices architecture, and I'm curious, do you think the microservices practices are truly beneficial for Node project, especially in terms of scalability, maintainability? Um, that's a very good question. I would say, like, the practices in general are definitely really good to create different microservices and do that. However, the main benefit of creating a microservices architecture is that there are so many different mini services all interacting with each other. So what happens is, if one service were to go down, you basically find a replacement and, like, replace it, but still the rest of your infrastructure stays the same. That's the benefit of it. It's really good for bigger companies with a lot of users. Why? Because they can easily switch providers. They don't have to necessarily, you don't need to have, like, a huge monolith for everything. You can have those delegation. However, it does require maintenance, because and depending on how you architect it, it can scale well, but it does require maintenance, because you now have to suddenly manage so many other GitHub repositories and issues there, and how everything works, and you have to put in a lot more thought into it, if it should be a microservice or not. So keep that in mind. There are pros and cons there. Alrighty, so if you're, I'm gonna hang out for a couple more minutes, but other than that, I would say this was a very helpful session, hopefully. And I'm gonna go back to what I had. Hopefully, this was a helpful session. The next question I have is, just gonna paste, uh, just gonna type this one thing. Mm, any updates on Next.js course or .dev? Um, I would say that right now I'm very close to wrapping it up. If you haven't already, please sign up to the waitlist for the Next.js course. If you learned a lot from my YouTube channel, the course goes even in depth and will help you think about how to code and how to go about solving those problems. Again, I'm focusing mainly on how to build and deploy production ready Next.js applications, not just random applications. So that's definitely my focus. I am planning to launch the course, like, I'm gonna reopen it in a couple weeks to only people on the wait list, because I want to get feedback and improve before I launch it in full. So if you haven't already, please sign up to the waitlist, because I'm gonna only give waitlist specific bonuses, because you join early, so you help me. And yeah, so, like, definitely check that out. So that's an update. I definitely plan to launch it in full for sure, but that's the update for Next.js course. Okay, then we have um, how long Next.js is going to be relevant since framework like Links.js is getting popular. What's your opinion? I would say, like, every single day there's a new framework, there's a new technology, there's some new advancement. And I think that's the way the world of tech goes, right? There's going to be always something important. I would say, like, right at this point, Links.js is probably maybe getting popular, but not as much. So keep an eye on it and, like, try to build something simple with it. However, you cannot just jump on every single hype train that comes along. You want to make sure that you're investing in your future as well. So keep an eye on it, but focus on the latest technologies that are working really well. For example, Next.js. The other framework that's coming up and it's really good is StanStack. So by Tanner Linsley, 100% recommend checking that out. It's a really awesome framework. a very good competitor to Next.js. So both of those are really good. But again, I think believe Tanstack is still in beta, so they're still working on it and improving it. Who knows what the future holds? So definitely keep an eye on it. Build something simple and go from there. Alrighty. So do we have any other hi? How are you? I'm doing great. Thank you very much. One more question. Remote jobs. What are the things, preparations before applying for remote jobs? Where to find? Honestly, I have no idea. Like, I wish I could help you here. Um, but I don't apply for remote jobs specifically, but I would personally just Google it and check on LinkedIn and see how where you can apply it. Um, in terms of things to prepare, exactly what you would prepare in a in-person job. If it's not a remote job, that's exactly what you would prepare. Like remote jobs are just jobs. However, you want to make sure that your time zone where you are works very well for the remote job. So keep that in mind as well. Alrighty. So, any final thoughts or advice you would give to someone on their journey as a developer? Just gonna, yeah, as a developer, especially in terms of building a strong foundations and avoiding common mistakes. Um, Very general question. Let me think. If I were to give any advice, it's just my advice is very simple, but I would just say keep shipping, keep iterating, and keep an eye out on what's going on and really try to figure out not just how to do something, but why you're doing it. Like why Next.js, why React, why Shatsian, why. Like if you know the why, you would be able to figure out the missing pieces necessary to make those decisions yourself. Because if you don't know the why, then what's the point? Like you don't want to just be following someone. Otherwise, you'll be following someone all the time. So, and in terms of like avoiding common mistakes, it's a journey, right? Like you're gonna make mistakes, but in order to avoid it, it's very hard to say how can you avoid mistakes? Like you're gonna make them. We all do. But keep practicing, keep getting better, and then one day you will be like, oh my god, I cannot believe that I was used to get stuck on this, but I no longer get stuck because it's a skill, right? It takes time to build. Okay, I think that is it. I'm gonna call it now. I'll be a little bit over time anyway, but yeah, just keep messaging me, just tagging me, or if you have any questions on my videos, and you know, like is will AI kill developer jobs? I've already answered that, so definitely check that out. I'll add timestamps to this video so like y'all know exactly what questions were asked. However, having said that, just keep commenting. Thank you so much for all your support and love yeah, that you have given me as part of this channel. Please keep watching. If there is content that you would want me to create, please let me know, and add comments and press that like. I know every YouTuber tells you to press that like, comment, and this and that, and it has become like sort of like gimmicky. However, that's how the algorithm works, and algorithm only will help push out more content if people do that those actions, which is why everyone says in the world. But yeah, please comment below and let me know like if there's something you want me to create in the future, because I'm always looking for ideas and to grow my channel to help improve further. So anything in general, please let me know for sure. But yeah, thank you so much for all your questions and just support as well. I'm also gonna leave a link to buy me a coffee if you wanna support the channel further. You can do that here. Or I would say that if you are interested in signing up to my Next.js course, then just take a look at that as well. I'm planning to launch it soon. So, whatever you have learned, if you want to learn in depth and more production based, 100% check that out. If you cannot afford it, and if now is not the right time, totally okay. I'm going to keep creating more content on this channel as well. But in order to sustain myself, I need to do both. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely day or night. Bye. Bye, everyone. Before last, any last thoughts, any comments, please comment below and let me know. Thanks for your advice and suggestions. Alrighty, perfect. So I'm gonna go now.